Greetings, I'm Dev the developer.
And I'm Glitch.
When you write new bank account, something happens before you can do anything with that object. That something is called a constructor. Today we are covering 3 ways to write one, plus the object initializer syntax we have already been using and why it works. Let's start with a question. In the last video, we created a person using object initializer syntax without writing any constructor at all. How did that work?
Wait, so C# just makes a constructor up if I do not write one.
It does. If you define a class with no constructor, C# provides a free default constructor with no parameters. Properties get default values automatically. Numbers start at 0, booleans at false, strings at null. The default constructor is what the object initializer is calling under the hood, and then it sets each property after the object exists. But sometimes you need to enforce required data at creation time. For example, a bank account without an owner does not make sense. That is when you write a constructor yourself. A constructor is a method that has exactly the same name as a class and no return type. Here's what that looks like. Now, add the constructor.
So the constructor is like the checkout form at a hotel. You have to fill in your name before they hand you a key.
Exactly right. And once you define a constructor with parameters, the free no argument version disappears. Anyone who writes new bank account with no owner name gets a compiler error before the program runs at all.
So the class is enforcing its own rules. I like that. It would be even better if you could require credentials before any caller could interact with the system at all. Make sure they provide authentication before getting access to the resource. Every device on the network, every connection attempt, before getting access to the bank account. Same principle.
Yes, the constructor ensures required data exists before the object is usable. For a bank account, that means an owner name. C#12 added a shortcut called a primary constructor. If your constructor body would just be assigning parameters to properties, you can put the parameters right on the class declaration line.
Okay, so the parameters are just available everywhere inside the class.
They are. Primary constructors remove a lot of boilerplate for simple cases. If you need to run actual logic in the constructor, like incrementing a counter or validating an argument, write it the standard way. Now, for the object initializer you already know, here's the full picture of how it works. It calls the no argument constructor first, then sets each listed property. 2 requirements. The class needs to have a no argument constructor, and the properties you want to set need set or init. 3 approaches. Object initializer, when all properties are optional or have good defaults and nothing special needs to happen at creation time. Standard constructor, when you need to enforce required values or run logic. And primary constructor, when you need required values but the body would just be assignments. The constructor is the doorman. It decides what is and is not allowed in before the object exists. Once you see that these 3 options are just different ways to express the same gatekeeping, the choice becomes intuitive. Go write a class that will not compile without required data at creation time. Don't just watch it, do it.